All right. Are we ready? All right, so.
Okay, cool.
Boys and girls, children and animals. Let me introduce our featured presenter tonight, Mr. Steve Rattle. Steve is an Englishman, much like Kate, but she's an English woman, not like an Englishman, but nevertheless. Steve was born and raised in England, has a business in England, which, interestingly enough, England was very affected by the COVID. Steve's business has been in the design and construction of ice skating rinks. And during the last couple of years, the ice skating rink business has been, not. However, storage of the deceased has become a big thing. So his business really shifted their focus, and they've been building a refrigeration system in morgues over there for the last couple of years. So finally, now his business has reverted back, and everything seems to be blossoming there. But for many, many years, he and his wife, his wonderful wife Claire, would travel to Egypt and enjoyed vacationing. Egypt is our Florida Keys to the English and to the Europeans. It's a quick ride over there, and easy to get home and easy to get to. So they went there for years. They loved it. He thought, I should open a business here. So he bought a little camp, and he started a little business. He worked in a hotel and catered to, Russians or whatever. First time I went and visited Steve, we were in the bathroom area, and they had hand towels hanging there. And I said, is this for everybody to use? And he said, oh yeah. I said, I don't think that's going to fly with our people. So we're going to make a few changes here. So this our trip that we're coming up in September here will be our 6th trip over to Steve's camp and operation here, and he has grown over the years as well. So he runs a wonderful camp. He'll explain all about it tonight. He bought a boat. One of the frustrations in safari boats there was we were always on somebody else's boat. It's Egypt. It's like Mexico, there's not a lot of rules, and people pay other people and whatnot. So the quality control was not there. Now it is. He owns the boat. It's his crew. It's his people. And we're looking forward to an awesome experience now and for years going forward. So, take it away, Steve.
Please show.
Thanks for waiting.
All right, we're going to talk about the whole trip, and it's going to be directly what you will be doing if you come with Dave. So, let's get started. If anyone needs subtitles, I can put them up.
You understand just fine.
I can also translate.
So we'll start at the beginning. Where is Egypt? Very good question, surprisingly enough. That's Egypt. Tucked between Africa and the Sinai Peninsula. And where we're going to be heading to, first of all, is Cairo. We'll be flying into Cairo. Arriving in Cairo. We have to arrive on Friday the 23rd of September. How you get there? Dave's not worried, I'm not worried, just get there for the 23rd of September. The easiest way is JFK Egypt Air, and it lands around about 9:45 in the morning, which gives you half a day to get to the hotel and half a day to relax and chill and get back into things before we start the program of seeing everything. What's the first thing you want to see when you get to Egypt? What's going to make you think you're in Egypt?
Pyramids.
Okay. Your hotel faces the pyramids. Wow. So as soon as you're there, you're in Egypt. Yeah, it's amazing. So the pyramids are right outside your door. You won't be visited until the next day. And the Sphinx is obviously next to the pyramids. So you'll spend the morning, have a quick look around the pyramids, quick, as long as you want it to be. Be chance to take photographs with all kinds of different things. If you take a certain point, you can stand like that, and it looks like it's in your fingers, and they'll take you to exactly the right space to do it.
You can buy these slides after your trip yourself.
Yeah.
Are the trips chaperoned by somebody that works for your staff or something?
We have a partner company that works and covers this all. You will be chaperoned anyway, because the American government insists that you have a chaperone.
So just to be clear, there's 4 parts of this trip. There's Cairo when we get there, there's the liveaboard, there's the camp, and then there's Luxor. And those are the 4 major components of this trip. In Cairo, as Steve said, the government requires an escort. So we will actually have an armed guard with us. He'll be wearing a suit. He'll have a Uzi machine gun underneath his jacket. And as a result of that, absolutely nobody will mess with us. It's simple as that. It's just go mess with the other people that are on unescorted tours. So we will have no issues at all. Everything is well done. The woman running this, Miriam, I have been with her 6 times there. She is a certified Egyptologist. She knows everything. And you can ask her any question and you won't stump her. And it's just really, really well done. So she'll be with us all day, leading us through. The guard will be with us on that portion of the trip. That is the last time that there's any concern, if you will, of that. Once we go to the boat, once we're at the camp, once we're in Luxor, it's a completely different country. So that's answers your question there as far as will we be protected.
And just to go back, there is no concern anyway. There is no issues in Egypt. There's no issues in Cairo, but the American government insists on it happening for American travellers. So there's just no problems. Okay, the other thing you'll do on the day is you'll go and see the Muhammad Ali Mosque, which is the Citadel, which is pretty impressive. And you'll go and meet Tutankhamun. This is a gold mask. The gold mask is about the size of a chair, and you can get there with it. Piece of glass, 6 mil thick, and you're right in front of it. It's impressive. It's also, don't try stealing it. You get up close and personal. So those are going to be the key things you're going to be seeing. We've got a one-day tour. So you have a day to relax, chill down, then the next day we're going to hit it hard and you're going to be out there touring. We'll do all those during the day. And before we head off home is my home. Was that what you're asking about, Bob?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, this is Khane el Khalili. It's in the centre of town. It's very impressive. It's narrow streets. It's the main bazaar in town. There's also lots of mosques, churches that you can go to as well. It's better in the evening. It's just more atmosphere. During the day, it looks like a dirty street to a degree. In the evening, it looks like this, and it's a fantastic place to be. From here, we're going to head over to the airport, and we're going to head off. Not sure if it's that plane. We're starting in Cairo, and we're going to fly down to Hurghada. And in Hurghada, I will be there, waiting for you. Trepidation arms. It's all gone well out in Cairo. If it hasn't, I'll send somebody. And I'll take you straight to the boat.
So you get to Hurghada on the 24th?
You arrive on
Saturday night.
The flight is 10 o'clock at night or 10:30 at night. You arrive in Hurghada at 11:30. You'll be on the boat by 12:30.
We'll sleep on the boat then.
We sleep on the boat and we sail in the morning. Let's talk about Liverpool diving. What's a Liverpool all about, first of all? We started doing Liverboards back in 1980 in the Red Sea. We were one of the first people ever to do them. And it was about finding locations that you couldn't get to on day boats or from the shore. And the first places we were doing were Thistleville and the wrecks around there. Then we started going further south to the Brothers. They were remote. Everyone that went there was a very experienced diver. We didn't have any safety backup. In those days, it was you were a good diver, you took care. And we had some good fun. So it's about exploring the ocean and finding some amazing sights. Peter Collins, who Dave knows, has dived virtually every island there is in the north part of the Hurghada area, looking for wrecks primarily. And now it's all about doing it in comfort and safety. So that's what our objectives are when we go on our liverboard, is to keep away from people, go to the best sites, maybe find some more. Nice and safety, there's no rush. It's all about being chilled, relaxed and safe. What it shouldn't be, which is what a lot of the boats are doing, is diving in crowds. Okay, there's no point in diving with 200 other divers. You might as well stay ashore. You want to be diving with just your guys on your boat. So that's what we're trying to achieve.
You go to some of the sites and these boats will be rafted up.
We'll come to it.
There you go. That's crazy.
rushing around to deadlines. If you've got a situation where Blue Oak 2, for example, which is one of the big operators, they actually sell itineraries. And they'll tell you that on Monday we're going to be here at 9 o'clock, here at 2 o'clock, here at 5 o'clock. They've made a contract with you through their agent. If they don't reach that contract, you have a claim against them. You can say, we didn't do that, so I want a refund. So they're very tied to their schedules. We don't do that. And I'll tell you why.
Because you're smart.
Yeah. And you don't want to jump in off the back of the boat. And there's 24 of you, all in one long line. Okay. Wait for me. So these are the things we're trying to avoid. The route we're choosing, because they are some of the best sites in the Red Sea, we can't avoid everything, but we'll be doing our best. And we'll explain why. Our USP with Big Blue, clue in the name, big, is space. Space on board the boat. It's a big boat. It's 38 metres. You'll see it says 42 metres. That's actually from here to the back. There's 38 metres of usable space. 8 metres across. We have a licence to take 42 passengers. We have beds for 28 passengers. We never take more than 24. So there's plenty of space on board. Hey. Now USB is space. Space at the dive sites. This is actually one of my favourite dive sites, but you're not going to. It just actually depicts the whole point. That's what we like to do. As I've said, you're going to sites that are particularly popular on a lot of people's routes, so you're never going to get to that situation unless we're extremely lucky. But we live in hope. That's how we get around it. We don't have a set itinerary. What we'll do is we'll say we're going to do the Thistledown, we're going to do Brothers. We won't tell you what day, we won't tell you what time, but we will do them. We'll start off with a plan, but if we get there and it's just a mass of boats, we'll go somewhere else and come back. So we do our best to avoid the crowds. You can't avoid everything on some of these sites we're going to, but that's why we say those with set destinations, not set itineraries. It avoids the problem that people can sue us because we didn't go there at 9 o'clock.
Are you set mooring lines or you just anchor up there?
They're tied on. See the line there?
Oh, yeah, okay.
So they swim across and tie onto the reefs. There's often anchor points in the reefs, but if there's not, they'll just find somewhere else to tie to. We avoid convoys. So you'll see the Blue Oak 2 boats, for example, follow each other. 3 boats. Go to the site, all dive. Next site, dive. Horrendous. But they have a contract. So we try and avoid boats wherever possible. Wherever possible being the key word with certain sites. When we're diving, USB space when we go diving. We don't dive in long lines. You'll be divided into groups of 6 if there's 24 of you. And of those groups of 6, it'll be altered each day. Group 1 goes and gets ready. When they're ready, they go to the dive deck. Group 2 gets ready. When Group 1 jumps in, Group 2 goes to the dive deck, and so on. So there's always interval between 6 divers. So the most people you're going to be diving with, unless you choose otherwise because you are a group, is 6. Same with the zodiacs. Okay. What that does mean in practical terms is you have to come up as a group of 6. So we try and match the group. We can't have the zodiacs waiting for one person because the next group should be up and they need to be where they should be. We're going to get to places like Thistledown and there will be boats. So what we do is they're all on the set itinerary. 6 o'clock, you're diving in Thistledown. So 6 o'clock, we'll have a cup of tea. 7 o'clock, when they're all out of the water, we'll go diving and you'll have it virtually to yourself. So just patience. There's 24 hours in a day, you need to do 3 dives and a night dive. There's plenty of time. There's no rush to go anywhere. So that's the way we operate. Be relaxed.
You go for a night dive every night?
Depends on the location. You can't night dive in marine parks. Some places will bend the rules, depending on what the site's like. The reason is they're dangerous. If they're not dangerous sites, like some of Sharon, then we'll do a night dive.
So what would you guess as an average, like maybe 3 night dives on a trip? Maybe?
We're going to go through the whole schedule.
Sorry.
I'll say no. Q&A here. Or it's going to be long enough anyway. Q&A. So space on board. Let's have a look at the cabins. I don't know if you've been on liverboards before. This is the cabins. These are the standard cabins. What you'll find in some of the older boats is when you sit on the beds, you're like that. That's your knees with the person next to you. And that's the good ones because the older ones even have bunk beds. So we have plenty of space. These cabins are maybe 12 feet by 10 feet. And then the bathroom on the end is another 12 feet by 4 feet. So there's plenty of room, plenty of space.
So every cabin is, almost all the cabins are configurable. All the cabins have 2 beds. Some can be brought together to be 1 bed, some can't. But every cabin has an in-suite bathroom, so there's no sharing of a hallway bathroom. It's just your room, with your own facility.
If you know anything about us, you know that we work with a British military charity with all the disabled people, deaf therapies. So when we designed the boat, we designed 2 cabins for disabilities. So on the main deck, there's disability cabins. These are slightly wider apart, sliding doors, ramps, etc. Obviously they're in use for anybody, but first choice goes to the people in wheelchairs, if there are any. We also have 2 double cabins, which are on the main deck. They're probably the smallest cabins, because originally they were designed for the crew, for the guides. But we got requests for doubles, and people decided that they wanted doubles, so the guides go somewhere else. You can only get into the bed from one side, it's a little bit shorter. If you want doubles, there are 2. You have to fight with Dave as to who he's going to give them to. Bathroom's still the same size. Then we've got space upstairs. This is some of the lounging areas. That's the top deck on sun deck. So this end of it is all open sun deck. This is the back where there's a bar, just here. And this is inside in the lounge where we do the briefings. So of an evening, that's a typical position if you're not night diving. Still on a night dive? This is the dive deck. Twin ladders. Bear in mind that only 6 of you are going to be using it at any one time. In theory. Even if 12 of you went down there, there's so much space there, it's very easy.
And so the dives will be a combination of diving off the mothership and returning to the mothership, and some off the Zodiacs and returning to the Zodiacs.
Q&A's at the end.
I think the course will be quite
Restaurant area. Plenty of space again. To be honest, the chairs are a pain because they are too big and we are changing them. By the time you get there, they'll probably be not so wide, not so high, because they're a bit difficult. They look nice, but not practical. So they'll probably get changed before September. Food's not looking bad either. The chef is off a Nile cruiser. He's used to working with like 300 guests and 18 chefs with him, and now he's just looking after 20 people, 24 people, doing what he wants to do, and he produces delicious food. Easy life. However, he was seasick for the first month. The Nile doesn't get rough. There's a technical spec for the boat. If anyone's particularly interested in the technical spec, for me, it's fine. Space at sites. So we looked at that one earlier. That's actually Zabagat Island down in the south. So it's probably one of my favourite dive sites. That one is Rocky. That's Zabagat. This is Rocky. Rocky usually has about 16 boats on it at any one time. We're usually there with 2 or 3 because we set over at Zabagat and wait for everyone to go, and then we'll go. No one ever goes to Zabagat. They all go past it. It's not on anyone else's itinerary. I've been there for the last 10 years, probably seen 5 boats. And it is amazing, but we're not doing it, so I won't go into that. That one, you are going to, that's the Brothers. Brothers is 2 islands in the middle of the Red Sea, literally in the middle. It's about equidistant from Saudi to Egypt. It's got a lighthouse on one, which we'll look at, and 4 boats on the end is quiet. I would expect 20 to 25 boats on at any one time, and there's nothing we're going to do about it because they've changed the rules. It used to be you could sleep at Brothers. Now you're not allowed to sleep at Brothers. You have to do your dives and leave and go down to Daedalus, which makes Daedalus really busy as well. But we're not doing that, so that's good. Okay, the reason they did that is the shark activity. Sharks were beginning to get affected by the dive boats as far as they were concerned. So rather than have dive boats, they're overnight attracting sharks and attracting incidents, and there was a few. They got rid of the dive boats during the night. I don't think the incidents have actually changed, or nothing's really changed with the shark behaviour. It's raw that's stuck. We'll talk about the dive site a bit later on when we get to that stage. Okay, this is also Brother. So this is the other Brother. This is Big Brother. And this has got a lighthouse on the top. So you can visit the lighthouse. They will sell you a t-shirt. If you don't go to the lighthouse, we'll sell you the t-shirt at a high price. Again, there'll be a lot more boats than that. That's at the end of the day when you could sleep there. Nowadays, it's horrendous. But it is a really good dive site. So we have to go. But nothing we can do. As we said, space when diving, on the back of the boat, 2, 4, 6 people, it's very easy. Dave's mentioned, sometimes we'll be going by Zodiac, sometimes we go off the back of the boat. It depends on the site. We'll talk about that shortly. When we're in the water, that's a typical River 6, being in close touch with their buddies. It depends on your level of qualification, experience, etc. The guides, first of all, you don't have a guide if you don't want a guide. We will brief the dive sites. If we think that there's any reason to go with you, we will go with you. You don't have a choice. However, if you're well qualified, lots of experience, you're free to go as your own group and dive with clients. That's very difficult for divers going off by themselves. 3 together here, 3 together there. But remember, you do need to come up together. So you've got to keep in a reasonable group all the time. They're not paddy divers, obviously. Same thing applies on the line. When you try and get 24 people up a line, it's a nightmare. 6 at a time, it's much more manageable. So we're going to talk about the route. I haven't actually got one map that covers everything, so I have to improvise. That grey bit is Hurghada, that's where we're going to start from. First dive is a check dive. So what we will do is make sure you've got all your kit, first of all, because it's a long way to shore. You will need to bring with you SMBs and reels. Okay, everyone dives with an SMB and reel, everyone dives with a computer. Everything else is optional. But those 2 things, if you don't want to take breathing gear, that's fine.
So the bottom line here is the level of diving certification and training and qualification for that is really an advanced water diver as a minimum. So something to work towards. If you're planning on this trip, is to get move on from your open water and to at least to your advanced.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that, we recommend minimum 50 dives, advanced open water. Anyone can come on the trip. However, you might not be diving all the dives. If we don't think you're suitable, or your experience is good enough to do a particular dive, you'll be asked to sit down. And as long as you come on board knowing that, it's not an issue. But 89% of the dives there'll be no problem. Some of them would. Right, so we're going to do a check dive. It'll probably be over here, a place called Umgama. That's a reef with about 10 metre feet, 30 feet.
Yeah.
30 feet wall, runs along on the sandy bottom, nice and easy to work with. However, if you're an experienced diver, you can come around the point here, and at 40 metres, 160 feet, there's a motor patrol boat been sunk there. All that's left is the engines and a little bit of the shell. There's a little wreck there you can start the trip on if you're suitably qualified and fresh for your diving. You haven't dived for a year? No. When you come back to the boat on the check dive, we want to see everybody's SMB up. Main reason for that is it amuses the crew. They're in fits for a couple of hours afterwards, laughing at the different people's attempts. Plastic bags coming off the stuff because they've never been used before. Let go without lines on, all kinds. There's always some. It's always good to laugh. But that's why we do it, so to make sure that everyone knows how to use the SMBs. SMBs on a liveaboard are your number 1 lifeline. You lose sight of the dive site, whether it's a wreck, whether it's a reef, first thing you need to do is put the SMB up. I have one example of the Abuti we went diving on, which is a wreck further north. Sent everybody out for their dive because they didn't need guidance, all experienced divers. And eventually we saw in the distance this SMB shooter. The wreck's there. Right. Jump off, you're in the wreck. SMB. Go and collect them, bring them back. We were following the mast. You mean the pipeline? It was nice, apparently. They followed the pipeline way out into the middle of the channel.
Wow. Rolls Royce master. Wow.
But without an SMB, we wouldn't have a clue where to look for them because they've gone completely away from where anyone would be looking. It's the most important piece of kit you're going to carry is the SMB. And as soon as you lose sight of a wreck or a reef, put it up. Doesn't mean you have to finish your dive unless it's been briefed that way, but at least we know to keep an eye out over there instead of over there.
Good question. Which kind do you recommend? Which one do you use?
Personally, I use a small with a 10-meter reel. But whatever you're comfortable with.
80 pounds.
80 pounds.
SMB. I was looking for the spec.
We either 2 meter or 6 foot SMB with that's 5 inches in diameter, or the same ones that
The bigger the better. It's easier to see.
Yeah.
100 foot spool, so you can send it up from depth.
Like a sausage.
A bigger spool.
Right?
Yeah, sausage, but
Oh, okay.
a bottom inflation, so you can inflate it at depth, not that style. That's just surface.
Anyway, moving
I
on.
have one.
Still on day one. We've done the check dive. Everyone survived. Great. So we're going to head up here to Abu Nahas. Abu Nahas is the insurance company's nightmare. There's 5 wrecks on there. 4 are diveable, 1's too deep. And all bar 1 was an insurance scam by the same person, a Greek fellow. We'll tell you more about that when you actually get on board, and we'll give you the full story. So Abu Nahas is 2 dives. There's 4 wrecks. We have 2 in mind, but if they're loaded up with divers, we'll pick the other wrecks and see where we go to. So that's down here. 4 wrecks, Abu Nahas. Then we're going to head up to the Thistlegorm and hopefully spend the night on the Thistlegorm. If we can get there in the afternoon, even better. We're going to spend the whole day on the Thistlegorm. You'll know why when you get there. We get a bit further into the reef. From the Thistlegorm, we're heading round here, up into Tehran. That's quite a little trek as well. And you can see by all the dive flags, that's a popular diving area. That's Sharm el-Sheikh right now.
That's the bottom tip of the Sinai Peninsula, the landmass there.
Okay. Before we get to Tehran, we're going to be stopping here at Ras Mohammed. Ras Mohammed is the national park, probably the most famous dive site in the Red Sea. It's a sheer drop off of about 800 meters, 2,500 feet. If you go out into the blue, you have chances of sharks, but you've also got chances of getting run over by the number of boats there. There's a lot of life, lots of big fish. Spectacular dive. Depends on the currents as to what you'll see and how difficult it is. This is one of the dives that we'd expect to ask the open water to be able to sit out of, because even vast extreme will get themselves in trouble. We will brief it, and it depends on what the currents are doing at the time. We can do 2 dives there, in which case, even if the currents are running at one time, it won't be for the second dive. So you'll get a good dive on it at some stage. Once we finished up in the north in Tehran, we're going to head down here to the Brothers. We're going to spend the day at the Brothers. Assuming this all goes to plan and we don't have to change. But so the Brothers are here, and we'll talk about those shortly. And then one more night, we're going to spend over in Savaga. We're going to sail to Savaga. Salem Express is a nice wreck with a very sad story, which we'll pass on to you. And
What are the happy wreck stories?
Sorry?
What are the happy wreck stories? I'm sorry, Q&A.
These guys. Sound deliberately.
Nobody was hurt, just thinking.
Yeah. And then we'll do something like Abu Kafan or Panorama. They're big wall drives as well. They're really nice guys. And then we're back off into Safaga. This is about a 45-minute presentation that we'll do before you dive as well. So you understand it and you appreciate people that died on there. And you also appreciate the merchant navy, because these guys are merchant navy and they never get a word. No one ever thinks about them. Thousands die.
the short story is the boat was loaded with supplies for the British Army and was waiting to unload, and it was at anchor waiting to unload the next day or whatever, and the German Air Force bombed it and sunk it in place. So the neat thing about diving it is what we'll see inside the wreck.
How about that? He's doing it again.
And
Inside the wreck. The reason we dive the Thistlegorm is such a good. It's called shit. It's the cargo. The ship itself has been destroyed, not by the war, but by dive boats. Tying onto it, ripping it to shreds over 40 years. It's horrendous. I was there back in the 80s and it was magnificent. Now it's pretty heartbreaking to go back and see it. But that's life. Life goes on. But the inside, even this has been destroyed, the handlebars are taken, but it's still amazing. And we've got a complete inventory of what's on board, so we can tell you where things are. There's also things, we will do a night dive here, by the way. Whoever asked about night dives. It can be quite eerie. There's 2 railway engines on board, not on board anymore. They're actually splat over both sides. When they exploded, the engines were onto the decks, and the explosion just sent them over the side. We didn't know there was 2 until several years later. We used to use that as a reference point. So back in the days before GPS, not that anyone remembers those, it was all done by handsets, roughly. And the captain would go, it's here. 50% of the time, he'd be right. 50%, it's good. On a particular occasion, rope on the bottom, rope over your shoulder, pulling a boat, walking along the bottom, because the engine's there. Okay, that's good. The boat's just beyond that. Kept walking, didn't find it. That's ridiculous. We then find out there's one each side. And he's dropped me on the wrong one. We know the difference because of the engine covers now, so we know which side's which. The other thing about the Thistlegorm is one of the very few boats that actually have guns on. There's 2 guns on the back. And as I think he said in the broadcast there, they were told they couldn't use the guns. They're supposed to be protected by the Carlisle. The reason the Carlisle didn't protect it is the bombers came in too low, and if they'd have fired at the bombers, they'd have hit the Thistlegorm, so they couldn't fire. Hence he got a clean shot for Thistlegorm. That's pretty much what it looks like today. And yeah, anyone know where the bomb went? Yeah, that was an ammunition hold. And the ammunition's still there, a lot of it, and there's all kinds of things in there. But it's a fascinating, you can spend, and I have spent, hundreds of dives diving the Thistlegorm and still find these things. It's an amazing dive site.
how deep is that one? How deep?
That is 30 to the bottom. So you do have to keep an eye on it.
30 meters.
Yeah. Inside, you've got different decks. Top of the deck here is for about 14. You don't have to do deep dives. So from there, you're going to come around and do your lander and shark reef. Maybe one other round there, depending on how things are going. That's the sort of tuning we'll find. That's typical of the wall. But a lot of the colour and the interest and some of the fish life that's actually on the top. On the top is smothered in soft corals, there's turtles, you'll find nurse sharks, leopard sharks, but there's strong currents. And we mean strong currents. So if the currents are running, you need to follow the guide, because you'll know where to put things and find his way through. Otherwise, you'll just stay on the outside. You won't be able to get inside. But it's a spectacular dive, and it's well ranked for a good reason. From there, we're heading up to Tirana. They're the 4 islands of Tirana. Gordon is in the south. This is where we can do a night dive if the weather's okay. And basically, we'll be doing a dive on each of the reefs. They're all drop-offs. I've seen tiger sharks there, all kinds of mantas. There's deep channels, both sides with strong currents, so you can get good life there. That's typical of the top of Jackson, that one. So you see the corals are in immaculate condition. That's the wife. She has to be in it. Okay, the other thing is, there is a wreck there that not many people know about. This was sunk probably 3, 4 years. Thor Guardian is actually, it was used by the Israelis as a gun locker. So when boats went into shore, they took all their guns off the dock, and then they come back out to the gun locker, collect the guns and carry on. So it was used as a gun locker. It was really a tugboat. But it was sunk for insurance. How do we know that? Because all the doors were tied open. And where they sunk it, it's a sheer wall straight down, except for it ended on a ledge. So they weren't expecting anyone to find it. It is the technical dive if you're going to do it, because the stern is at about 30 metres, so you can see it. If you're a recreational diver, you can't get past it. But if you want technical diving, then you can go further down and you get to the end. So that's something that Dave hasn't done.
Do you have O2 on the boat? Do you have O2 on the boat?
We can have whatever you want on the boat as long as you ask us for it. So stage tanks or whatever, there's no problem.
So if we want to do some technical dives, we'll pre-order some doubles, because obviously they're going to rent them. They're going to be on the boat for the week.
Or side mount?
Side mount's easy.
Obviously they have tanks, but they have the ability to make nice rocks, but I think stronger than that. You're going to have to bring solar to the boat too. We're going to have to pay for it. No.
Yep. This is the Brothers, so we've now sailed all the way down to the Brothers. And that's the lighthouse on the Big Brother. That's typical of the Brothers on the side. The Big Brother particularly is just drop-offs. This one's actually on Small Brother, and it's a saddle. And it goes over there and around the side. That's pretty good for fox sharks, thresher sharks, same thing, what you call them in America, same in the country. Yeah. And there's 2 wrecks on the Big Brother, Aida and Numidia. The wreck starts for the Numidia it comes to the surface, so you can do that one without too much problem. Aida's a bit deeper, that's a technical dive really, because you're going down 40, 50 metres if you're going to the bottom of it. So again, if you are qualified, that's nice to get on board, and our buddy, I'm sure Dave will go with. This is what the Brothers are famous for, sharks. We have oceanic whitetips, and that's the thresher or the fox shark. You get grey reefs and a few others. The ones you're most likely to see, silkies is the oceanic whitetips. Anybody been with oceanic whitetips? Okay. There's over 360 species of shark, 4 will attack unprovoked. Tigers, great whites, bull sharks, which are wall darted down in the Caribbean, and the oceanic whitetip. They are dangerous sharks. They have to be watched. You need to know what you're doing with it. We give you a full briefing on board before you dive in waters with oceanic whitetips. As long as you keep eye-to-eye contact, you're not going to have a problem. But when you have 4 or 5, it's not possible to keep your eye-to-eye contact. So we'll tell you when you need to get out and make sure you've got your buddy with you. There have been incidents with the ocean. These aren't adults, these are the juveniles. They're 2 to 4 metres. And they don't know what's food yet. That's the problem. So they're doing exploratory bites, not coming to rip your arms off, they're just exploratory bites. But if they hit you in the wrong place, that's not good. No. So there is potential danger with oceanic whitetips, but they are fantastic to dive with. Just be aware of them. And so we will reach. As you can see, these guys aren't terrible. As long as you keep the eye-to-eye contact, you'll be fine. Then we're going to go into Safaga. There's Safaga down here, about there, I think. Southern Express. That's the Southern Express ferry. That's what it looks like on the bottom. It's coming back from Mecca, in a pilgrimage, in bad weather, and decided that it would make a shortcut. The shortcut being down the back of the Safaga Island, which they're not allowed to go anyway. And he ran into these roofs here, just on top of Shropshire. Opened the front door. Basically, this door here was jammed open. Spot the impact. So it sank very quickly. A lot of people died. I'll say official records, I think, are 600. Unofficially, it was about 1,500.
What year was that?
30 years ago, probably. Without any notes, I can't do it for sure. But but it is an impressive dive. If you step to the outside, then it's okay. If you think you're going to go inside, then you're in a grey area. A lot of the guides, etc., that are working there, some of our guides, are involved in rescuing people, and they are very touchy. They used to be very touchy. They're okay now, but it is close to the mark for them. But the lifeboats are still there. There's enough time to take more. But it is a good dive. Treat it with respect, and it's a good dive.
It's really eerie to go in there because, you know, it's a Titanic. It's, the crew was selling tickets like for cash. And so there's no manifest. There's room on the boat. You need to get home from Mecca. Come on. So they have no idea how many people died. As Steve said, they're estimating 1,600, might be more. It was tremendous. But
If that is the right number, that's the biggest marathon.
yeah, well, separate stuff. But to go inside of this and go down the hallways, past the cabins, and everybody's luggage is still sitting parked, right in their rooms, and just like they left it. When they went to bed that night, it's really, really eerie and touching to just to be in it. It's a sort of a sacred place.
Yeah, so that's the end of the safari. As far as we're concerned, that's the way it should all be. That's what our tagline always is. So we're now in Safaga. Up there, and we're going to go El Qasir. When we get to El Qasir, routes. That's the town of El Qasir. It's not a tourist destination, it's a local town, and we're outside the local town. So this is routes Red Sea. And Bob won't call it a camp.
No camp.
Okay, it's camp by location only. There's no tents. It's all nice accommodation. When we first moved in, that's what it looked like. That was more of a camp. Wicker huts. I don't know what the first time you went, Dave. What year was you there first?
Yeah, the eco huts.
Okay, you went to bed in the eco hut and we had a windstorm. You woke up covered in sand.
And besides, we kind of made it grass.
So that's the difference now. Quite a bit of difference. So that's been done over the time. We're still developing, we're still changing things. That was the original reception. Slightly different now, slightly improved. That's the receptions. That was the boutique rooms, as it was. They're the boutique rooms now. And that was the drive up, and it's now swimming pool. It's 3 meters deep. We've done quite a lot of work, and it is a much better place. These are the rooms, and they've been refurbished and stayed as there last time. The bathrooms are now on the back. They used to be part of the room. They've been closed up. They're not 5-star hotel rooms. They're perfectly adequate. If you just stayed on the boat, that's an upgrade. So, everything you need: fridge, bathroom, bed, air conditioning, even TV for the news. When we're dining at Roots, we have breakfast in the main restaurant inside. And the reason it'll be inside is if you sit outside, you'll probably get buzzed by flies. Depending on what time of year. September's probably just before the fly season, so you'll probably be okay. But we have inside breakfast because of that reason. If you want to sit outside, you're more than welcome to. But this is set up for the inside. For lunch, over here, it's on the beach. We have a beach restaurant. That's around the diving, so whenever you come back from diving to a lunch, it's not like a hotel, there's lunches 1 to 2, if you're not back in time, you don't eat. You cook for the divers. And that's a typical buffet. And then the evening meal is served outside on the terrace, and there aren't no flies if you want to sleep. So that's the outside area there. This is also a bar area, and once a week, and on the first day you're there, second day I think, you've got a beach barbecue. So we have a beach barbecue as well. we have some bars, we sell beer. Beer, not this stuff of it. It's got flavour to it.
But force myself, it's okay.
Dartboard, so there's a dartboard here. Table football. Little smug area, old fire, not that you're going to need it in September. Then we have a dive centre. We have more of them. This is on the beach. So what happens during the day is we move all the, if you're on that house roof, boxes get moved here. This is your training area, showers, and the beach cafe is that thing in the back over there. In the actual camp itself, there's the dive set that we check into where all the kit's issued, if you need kit, etc., and the paperwork's done. All these on the wall are dive sites that we can do. We'll come to those shortly. So the first day you're there is 2 morning dives on the house reef. We've just had a week's intensive diving on the boat. We decided to give you an easy day. So get up what time you like, go diving what time you like. If it's unguided, you just go above it. If you want to dive 10 times, fine, unlimited. And so dive as much as you like, have lunch on the beach, dive again in the afternoon. That evening, back on the beach again, we'll do a night dive, and then we'll have a barbecue on the beach, and a few beers. I say a few beers after. Basically, we do have a rule that there is no alcohol if you dive. So as soon as you take one beer, whether it's on the boat or whether it's in the camp, that's diving done till 12 o'clock, and the next day. So the house reef, that's a map of the house reef. That's typical of the reef. You can see eagle rays on the reef as well. This side is a small garden and a wall that goes down to 10 metres, 30 feet. Around this side, it slopes down from basically 10 metres, it just slopes away 60, 70 metres with a few pinnacles and that to look at. On this side, there's bergs and bommies round the corner, and then there's a sheer drop down to 40, 45 metres and then slopes away down to 100 plus. So we can do technical diving there, and we do technical diving. On the night dive, we have lots of interesting critters. Couple of fish. Can you see that? Oh, that's a sea moth. They're scattered around. The more time you spend on the house reef looking, the more you'll find. There's stacks of life there. These usually go around in pairs, one large, one small. On the night dives, you'll hopefully see Spanish dancers. We've usually got 3 or 4.
Huge nudibranch.
What's that?
That's a nudibranch. It's huge. It's like a sea cucumber that you see, in Caribbean or whatnot. It's a huge nudibranch.
They're called Spanish dancers because when they swim like the Spanish skirt, which doesn't mean you can flick them off. So that's the house reef, and that's the night dive. If you get lucky with the moon, that'll be the sky. So it depends on what the cycle of the moon is, as how dark it is. And you sit outside and have a bonfire. You need a bonfire in the middle of the summer. So day 2, Dave's favourite day. It's going to have you working hard today. I'm going to go down by bus to the Bab area, and then go out to Feltonstone for a couple of zodiac dives. We don't need to leave early because you're going to be spending the afternoon and the evening down there anyway, so it'll be a later start than normally we go at 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to do that. We'll probably go at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll discuss that later. Once you've done the Feltonstone dives, then you'll see your old friends, the oceanic whitetips. Again, if you're technical divers, there's an arch here, there's an arch there, 40, 50 metres. And you can swim through from one side to the other. So again, there's another opportunity for technical diving. It's also the place if you want to see hammerhead, or a chance of hammerheads, I should say, not you'll see, on the North Plateau, that end. You need to go down to about 40 metres, sit and wait. Just out into the blue with the current coming. As long as the current's running, they tend to hang maybe 40, 50 metres off the front. There's often hammerheads down there, but they'll be not for recreational, but for technical divers it's a possibility. So it's a possible technical dive because you've got the arch and the chance to see them. Mm-hmm. These guys are usually in the top 5 metres. 16, 18 feet.
We're translating it.
Yeah.
Don't kill yourself.
You are the only ones in the world that use feet.
Oh, you British gave us this.
And I would have to remember it. That's good.
Because we're God's people.
What's the winter temperature generally?
In September, you'll be 28 degrees minimum.
Oh, that's really.
You're going to have to convert that for me.
Now you don't have to convert for us.
80 degrees.
75 feet. The temperature's about 75 feet.
Let me say I dive in a shorts and t-shirt.
It's about 90.
And it's the same all the way down. It doesn't get thermocline. What is it? What was it?
89.6.
That's good, is it?
Yeah.
That's good.
So they hang around the 20 feet.
These guys start up at the surface, the scavengers, so there's no point looking for them deep. The grey reefs will actually hug the bottom of the Elphinstone, which is around about 60 metres, so you won't get them close to you, you'll just see down on them if they're around. And the silkies, if they're there, they stay at the top of the room. They're the main interest because they interact. They will come at you. Nice and gentle, swimming straight to you, see what you do. If they get a brown cloud, they come closer. Now that afternoon, when you finish diving, you're going to go to the camel yard and go quad biking. And once you finish quad biking, you will have a little ride on a camel, or vice versa, depending on what they're doing. And then you're going to have a Bedouin dinner down at the camp as well. And they'll probably put on some spinny dances.
Spinning dancers. It's a technical term.
It's a technical term, yeah. That's your authentic evening, courtesy of Dave. Day 3, we're going to get up and head out on a bus to a couple of sites nearby and do some diving. I'll show you the sites in a minute. And then you'll have lunch at 2 o'clock or whatever time we get back, and then we'll be diving on the house roof again if you want to dive on the house roof. And that evening you're going to go into town and have dinner at the fish restaurant. Assuming everybody eats fish.
Yes.
If you don't,
Tofu shaped like a fish.
okay, shore diving. People tend to think shore diving is walk down a beach, turn left or turn right. This is shore diving, El Khazir style. You're diving out through caverns and canyons all the time. This is saline, and you don't get the idea of the scale that you would when the diver comes into it.
There's some absolutely amazing caverns.
Yeah, this is going to take you probably 10 minutes to swim from going under to getting out into the bay here.
Do you need a hard sole boot to walk out?
You need booties, yeah. Doesn't have to be that hard.
It's good to have the hard salt.
Yeah, they get an idea of the scale of the jet skis go. And that's how many divers you'll see as well. All our locations, there's nobody else there. So basically, if we turned up at a dive site and there was 2 other buses, we wouldn't go there. We'd just go to the next dive site. And the other dive centres do the same. So, and there's only 5 or 6 dive centres full stop in the area. Right. But these are the other dive sites around that we could choose. Depends on the weather, capabilities, etc. Serapuli is obviously a very popular one. But they're all different. Abu Hamra is the next one to us. Basically, you drop in and you can go out and there's lots of herbs and bommies. It's absolutely covered with life. Personally, I don't get past about the 2nd or 3rd. I just hang around there because there's so much going on. You can go off to the left and see the reef, or go off to the right and see the reef. There's lots of options on each of the dive sites. But it's just so full of life. Bet Gohar is more like expansive corals, big fields of coral. And we tend to do that with this one together, and you'll swim from one to the other. So into one. El Mogar, anyone know Stargate, the TV program?
Mm-hmm.
Where they jump through and they disappear? El Mogar. There's a suction current, you jump in, you disappear, no bubbles. Yeah. Where do they go?
Yeah. Pretty cool. You just enter in a hole. And into the cavern and boom, out to the reef.
SCUBA is probably the most popular site in the area, and you will see other divers there. But again, if you time it right, you don't end up with them in the water. That's because the corals here are amazing. And it would probably be our choice to take you to, because it's good for every ability. And there's 2 sites there, completely different. So that would probably be the one we do. Tarfa is another one of these holes. Swim through, down the channel, and then there's a wall 40 metres to swim back up. So that's just an example of a few. This is El Kazia. And that's the spice shops. That's typical of the shops and what you'd expect to find. And that's the fancy restaurant that Dave wants to take you to.
You're eating on the beach. One of the things that, a lot of the people who are here are a lot of errors, so they're shore diving and whatnot on their style. This is shore diving with Bedouin support, and this is a pretty amazing experience. This crew at Roots will, and I'm sure the same will be on the boat. The day you get there and you open your gear and you show them, and they put it in their memory as to what is yours completely across your kit. And then they put it into a milk crate, basically. Everything is rinsed at the end of every day. Everything comes back to you exactly at the end of the day. When we go shore diving, they've got all the milk carts on the back of the trucks, and they roll out the carpets for us so we're not in the sand or the dirt. They bring your milk carts out there. They tell you, there's your cart, there's your cart, they're your milk crate. And it's just an amazing amount of support. They'll walk out in the water and help you up. So if there's any difficulty getting out of the shore, they'll be walking into the water and helping you get out and back onto the shore. It is just an amazing level of service that is just so different.
What kind of cameras, facilities, or support? Yeah.
I'll answer that in a different way. Want to do it later? I'll do it later.
Okay.
I have a reason for doing it later.
Okay. Is that going to be during that Q&A period?
Yeah, maybe. So the last day with us, we'll have 2 morning house reefs, or many if you want, on the house reef. You can start diving at 8 o'clock in the morning. You need to have lunch at 12 o'clock. Or you can help out and do some projects aware, as you probably call it, but it's ocean for us, open ocean. And we can probably do a beach clean-up with the local kids. Open Ocean is our science centres. We have a marine biology lab, and we get involved with a lot of students, etc., etc. We get involved with educating the local kids about pollution primarily. We do research as well. Anybody seen the sand moving when they go diving?
No, you showed us that.
You've seen it, haven't
Did you ever figure out what it was?
Well, did you see it?
I did. I have a video of it.
Okay, so you'll pick up the sand and it's moving. But we wanted to know what it was, so we researched it. That's what it is. It's actually a shrimp, or the grub of a shrimp, which is, we think, probably the partner shrimp with the partner gobies. So where all the partner gobies are, that's where we find that the ground is moving. So, we mainly kill about 1 million trying to find out.
Yeah, we've also done some stops. We worked with a young lady you introduced us to, and we went down to the school down in Alcazar.
We'll probably come to that.
Yeah.
We've also got citizen science projects going on all the time as well. So we do monitoring the reef and then conservation. This is what Dave's talking about now. We work with a couple of people in town where they have the school kids, and we do beach cleanups with them. We go down and make presentations with them. And That was shot in December. So the people know they didn't have a freezer. As soon as they stopped the film, coat back on. Dashing on. Right, so after that, it's transferred to Luxor at 1 o'clock. I'm heading now into Antiquities. You think we've had enough of the holiday already, wouldn't you? But no, Dave wants to push on.
We're only halfway there.
Get that adventure going. So now we're going back into the old times. I've gone to an old map. We're going to Thebes, not to Karnak or Luxor. We're going to get there from Kazia to Thebes, which is the old name, by bus. It's about 3.5 to 4 hour drive in a minibus when it turns up. I remember rightly. Yeah. We have to go up to Safaga, cross the Dendera, and then back down to Thebes. And when we get there, we'll be in the land of the pharaohs. So we're going to arrive about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and the first thing you're going to do that evening, throw your bags in the hotel, pony and trap racing, and they do race. So you're going to get into Felicia and head off down to Karnak for the sound and light show. Karnak is probably the most famous of all the temples in terms of visitors. You're going to do it at night. You're going to get the story because obviously they're going to be telling you on the sound and light show. You walk around different areas and they do light shows and talks about the different things and pieces. Good fun, worth doing.
That picture doesn't quite express the magnitude of Karnak Temple.
Karnak's big. Then the next day, we get up bright and early and we're going to head off to see a few more of the antiquities, including the only Queen's Temple. There's a long story that goes with that, and I'm not going to tell you because Egyptologists will tell you something completely different, and then the next one will tell you something completely different again. And the Colossi of Mendon, you'll see that on the way. Don't know how long ago since you were there, Dave?
And they keep digging it up, and
That's the point.
they got about a 300-yard long, that'd be close to 300 meters. So their excavation area where the temple all collapsed in a big earthquake, and they keep finding pieces.
Well, they've actually discovered a whole temple there. So originally when we stopped there, it was just the two statues. Right. Now behind, they're uncovering a complete temple. Right. And that's going on throughout Luxor area. There's loads of things that we find.
That's like the hinges of the front door.
Yeah.
There's two sides, literally. That's where the front doors of the temple open.
So the international group work on that temple?
It's mainly French, I think, that work on these things. French have a big input over them. They also see a lot of the stuff. Historically, not now. Historically. Okay, Valley of the Kings. Obviously, one of the famous things is the Valley of the Kings. That's where Tutankhamun was found. Tutankhamun actual tomb is probably the least impressive of all of them. It's quite shallow and it's quite small. He wasn't around long enough to actually develop a history and therefore the treasures to go with it. Having said that, once you've seen the mask, I think it didn't need much else. But there are an awful lot of other tombs you can see. These are the ones that are open, and they've listed 62, I think, total. And they all go to different depths. There's a model in the reception area we can actually see in 3D where all the tombs go. It's very interesting. There's one right at the back that's Claire raves about, which lots of run up and go and see. But you have to be fit. It's a long way. What will happen is they'll give you tickets for 2 tombs, and then you can buy more if you want to. You can bribe the guard on the door, or you can have just to wander around.
It's like taking a picture pictures inside. No pictures.
Into that.
Give them
I'm on this little coin here.
There's absolutely no photographs inside these tombs whatsoever.
Unless you give them $2.
Oh, look at our albums.
The reason they don't want photographs is because if everyone was taking photographs, it damages the colours. And I didn't take this, it just stole off the way. But it just gives you an idea of what the inside of the tombs are like. Valley of the Kings is a must. They've actually found another tomb just next door to Tutankhamun, but they haven't opened it yet. And they're still doing X-rays, whatever they do, like ground surveys, etc. Ground radar. You can find out what's there. But that could be another massive hall. Once we've dashed you everywhere around, you're all hot and sticky, you've had your lunch, we're going to nice Nile cruise on a flume. So we'll take you to the Nile and you'll just have a little drift up and down the Nile with a traditional boat with a cup of tea. Do you get anything else last time? Just a cup of tea?
No, but we sailed to,
Banana Island?
excuse me for forgetting, but it was a cultural population that lived on an island there.
Banana Island.
Is that what the name was?
Yeah. The
And
Banana
then we ate
Island.
dinner. We ate dinner up on the roof of somebody's house.
I don't know about that. That's outside the tour, isn't it? But we'll come to those ones. So that's the end of the day. The next morning you have an option. Yeah. Get up 7 o'clock and go ballooning. Highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Well worth it.
Magnificent.
Yes.
Because I know I've done it. It was worth it.
6 o'clock in the morning?
No.
Right.
3 o'clock.
It's silly.
I do our more loaded those balloons.
silly o'clock. But it is 100% worth it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity to fly over the relics and antiques to see it. It's $85. It's nothing. So once you've done that, you go back to the hotel, have breakfast. We haven't finished yet, we've got lots to do. Luxor Temple. Luxor Temple you'll drive past a few times. It's smack in the middle of the town, and you'll see this from the side of the road. It's lit up at night, and not many people visit it because they go to Japan. But it's got a lot of good stories. This is the avenue, Sphinx Avenue. This runs from Luxor Temple to Karnak. So you could actually walk along that if you have the time and inclination to do so. But they run completely one end of the town to the other. And that's back in Luxor again, Luxor Temple. And some of the features of Luxor Temple, what you'll notice, you won't now, but you will do when you get there and go, oh, he said that. With the carvings here, this was Ramesses II, I think. The Vandals have been and destroyed all the previous pharaohs' graves, etc., by just defacing them. So he made sure they couldn't deface it so easy. He recessed them so far back it wasn't easy to do. So you find that all the recessing on his pictures are much deeper. So if you see deep ones, they're Ramesses II. Why am I showing you that? What is it? It's a mosque. It's a mosque, yes. Okay. Why is it interesting? That's Luxor Temple. They built a mosque on top of Luxor Temple. That's the door. What does that tell you? Ground used to be up there. Before they actually excavated and found out there was a temple there, they built a mosque on top.
It's called reuse. Reuse.
Yeah.
Over time, these different families and whatnot in power came and went, and in between, these temples and pyramids and everything else was built became the Home Depots of Egypt, and they would just steal the stones from here to build something else over there. It's pretty interesting where they trace some of the product how it's moved around.
Yeah. But we're not finished. One more temple. This is actually my favourite place to go, Dendera Temple. It's the youngest of all the ones you're going to visit. It's also the most impressive on the inside. It's completely intact. On the outside, it just looks like a normal temple. But you get a full tour. I haven't got all the pictures up. Basically, they've only just uncovered all these colours. This is the scene. And what used to happen hundreds of years ago, is the local people went inside, made fires, and the smoke just covered all the ceiling and all these colours with brown soot. And if you go in parts of the building, it's just brown soot. And they found out underneath, they started cleaning it, and they found all these amazing pictures completely intact. And
So is
its expanse is phenomenal.
Is that original colors or did
That's the original. Right, absolutely original. It's the most impressive thing you'll see. Yes? Did you went there?
Yeah.
It's a little bit out of town, so basically it's probably an hour's drive to the north of Luxor to go and do it and then back. But that's the last visit you're going to make. So you're topped up on Egyptology. And then we're going to be trying to get ourselves home from Thebes, because we're still in the ancient world, up to Memphis.
And again, on all these tours in Luxor, we will have another guide. And again, to answer questions, fill anything in, get us into the right places, so we're not stumbling going to these places. Everything is organized, and any questions, he's another certified Egyptologist. He works for Miriam from the beginning, and it's just a great, great experience.
So, we're going to get from Thebes to Memphis, and how are we going to do that? Train. Plan A is sleeper train. So that's another little adventure to finish off with, and it's going to arrive in Giza, near the pyramids, and then you get transferred across. However, Dave and I discovered a slight hiccup with that plan, didn't we? Small one, you'll miss your flight home. But we don't know how you're going to get there, so that could be a matter of how you're flying there. If you're going to get the Egypt Air flight, it's 9:45, 10:45 in the morning. The train arrives at 6 a.m. There's not enough time to get you from the station in through the airport to do that. That gives you the option of either extending for another day, use a different airline, or we have option B. And we can fly from Luxor that evening, put you in the Novotel, and then you can catch the flight in the morning. Dave is very much against that. He wants you to go on the train.
The train ride is pretty easy,
But there is an option.
we don't always do a thing once.
Does he know that? So once we're there in Cairo, we're going to head over to the airport. Then we're going to fly back to the old US of A. But not everybody, because we have another option.
Not the cool kids.
Hey, those that still think they need more of an adventure. We're off to Dahab. So, this is Dahab. Dahab was one of the original locations on the Red Sea where divers used to go. Used to go there for a week and stay there 6 months and became a heavy collar. It still has that in the middle of it, but there's a lot of development around. Not big 5-star hotels, but hotels. It still has a character. It's still one of the nice places to visit. And it has some nice diving and some special diving as well. Dave misses it, so he's got to go back. So, more of our partners. Plan is you fly down to Sharm. So you'll get to the airport with everybody else, and then you'll catch a flight down to Sharm, which is about 10 o'clock in the morning. You'll be met by scuba seekers in Sharm and driven up to Dahab, which is around about an hour and 20-minute drive, and you'll be staying at the Sheikh Ali Dahab Resort. As soon as you're there, you need to go diving, obviously. So there's one dive on the first day, you're back in the water. That's a typical dive in Dahab. Park on the side of the road, they lay out the mats, clamber across the rocks, across the top of the reef, and into the dive. And there's probably 20 dive sites that they use. Some of them are really nice, some not so, but we'll only take you to the really nice ones, so that's okay. Next day, this is what it's famous for, is the blue hole. It gets shallower every year, as they say. Things are a lot stricter now than they used to be. It used to have a very good use. It fills with Russians usually. There's a lot of Russians who go there and go so it's quite a popular use for it now. It's the blue hole goes down and then there's a chute that comes out the bottom and you swim back out into the blue or vice versa. It's around about 55 metres from memory.
Yeah, it's about 150 to 180, 15 feet or so to the top of the tunnel going out, about 180 to the bottom, and it goes out, and it's about 260 feet out. So it's definitely a technical dive. Unless you're Russian and you want your name on the wall, we're going to walk by old plaques of all the names you can't pronounce because they all died there, doing it on a single 80.
You can't do it single way. Anyway.
Can't make this stuff up.
Because they used to, quite regularly. Some did anyway. Some didn't make it back. So that's the blue hole. So that's the arch when you get down there. But it's definitely a technical dive, so for technical divers, it's a good one. For the non-technical divers, what you would do is a bit further up here, there's a crack in the reef. You drop down a channel, probably that sort of size, to whatever depth you want, and then you come out of the reef and swim around the wall over this, which is the saddle, which is the most colourful part of the blue hole, and you don't do the depth. So there is a recreational dive there. The bit that you go in is called the bells. And the reason it's called the bells is because you bang your tank all the way down till you come out. So that's going to be the next day. There'll be another dive to go with it. We're not 100% sure what that will be. Whether it's a canyon or it goes somewhere else. But if it's a technical dive, obviously you're limited on what you can do directly afterwards. That's a blank screen. But let's do something different. So we've got camel diving. That's your buddy. You take the camel, give him his kit, he goes with you. And you do. They only go to 10 metres though, because they're not 25. Or you can leave it on the beach and then you can go with the real buddy and do a proper dive. So they take the camels up to the north where you can't get the cars. So it's definitely a camel trek, and you dive off the beach. So it's a bit of fun. It's something different you can tell your buddies about over a few beers. So that's another day where you get 2 dives there. And a sore backside. You can walk alongside. And then we have a day out on the day boat as well. You can get 2 or 3 dives up there. Again, some of the nicest sites which are inaccessible from the shore. So that's Dahab. It's 3 unusual days. Blue hole, camel diving, and boat diving. This is the view from Dahab. When we finish in Dahab, we're actually going to drive. Oh, we're driving back. Otherwise, you have to waste a day because you can't fly. So we're going to drive back to the airport, and then you are definitely going home. We don't want you anymore. That's it. Finished. Goodbye.
That's all.
So thanks for listening. Now for the tricky bits. How much does it cost?
I'll just keep it £2,000 or some other units.
Russian ruble.
Bitcoin.
Yeah. It'll pay for everybody one bit. Okay, so that package, if you came to us independently and said we want to do it, would be approximately $3,750. Because it's Dave, and we did have a few mess ups last time, I had a favour.
You collect them.
Yeah, he did. So it's $2,990 for the whole package. What's included, what's not included. International flights, the Egypt Air is about $1,000 return. So that's now. That may be a special offer. So again, if you're going to do it, get it booked because they do go up and down these flights.
Yeah, things aren't going to change, so you start shopping for flights right away.
Egyptian visa, whole $25 when you get there. You give that to the guy who's going to meet you on the airside, and he'll give you the stamp and get you through. You get met on the airside and brought through. Internal flights. Those, if you budget $140, it may be a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, but it gives you an idea of what the costs are. You can leave an internal flight from Cairo to Uganda to get down to the boat. That's the flight to catch. It's Egypt Air, the 10:30. We can arrange them and we will get them for you if you want us to do it, but you also can book them yourself if you want to.
Yeah, that flight we'll arrange. So the only thing you need to do is get in and out of Cairo. Everything, all internal transportation,
We'll do it. Okay. Luxor to Cairo. If you're going to not get the train, That's the flight you'll be catching, 6th of October, which generally gives you an evening in Cairo in the hotel to chill, get a few beers before the flight the next day. Cairo to Sharm if you're doing Dahab. So if you're actually doing the program as we set it out, you only need the Cairo to the guide, because the rest is covered by the plane. But as I say, budget for 140. If you're doing the Dahab extension, it's around about 750. It depends again, if you're doing technical diving, there'll be additional costs because you're not going to take the kit with you. You're going to need to rent it. But again, we'll work that out. So the basic cost is around $750 for the extension. Balloon ride, $85. Occasional meals. When you get the itinerary of a day, there'll be certain places where you're not getting fed. And it's down to you, but there's a handful.
But 95% of the meals are covered in this trip. So lunch here is a dinner there.
Yeah, it's just an odd one to it. It's nothing major. And then government diving taxis on safari and resorts. Okay, there's depending on which way you're diving from. Routes, for example, you have to pay €7 per day to the local Coast Guard for diving. So every time you dive, it costs you €7, which I have no idea what that is in dollars. Probably $10. On the safari, there's marine park fees, extra fees, and harbour fees. So there's some fees that will be applied by the government, nothing to do with us, and they could change. They might say, well, you haven't charged fees because we want Americans to come. But in the real world, they'll be there with their hands up. But Tate will have all the detail, and he's doing a flyer for you to do the full itinerary. I'm sure there's nothing.
Thank you, sir.